Hey everybody, I think the video is starting. We're having some technical issues. Here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to our Facebook Live. My name is Pam Palanza and I'm a parenting mentor focusing on common sense behavior management for parents of neurotypical children aged 2 to 12. So welcome to my live. If you've not been here before, I'm glad you're here. If you're returning, thank you for coming back. I do these every Monday at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. Now, I have to start off by saying, so hop in the comment section, tell me where you're from, say hello, and let me know if you have problems getting your children to listen. Yes or no. Just put Y or N. And I have to tell you, we are having the effects of the storm, the hurricanes that are floating around out there in the ocean somewhere or heading towards land. I haven't updated myself on that recently. So right now it's raining and it's dark and my internet went off and on. So if that happens and then we get disconnected, I'll just stop at this point and then do this next week when we have clear weather because I can't fight Mother Nature. I'm not planning on it. Okay. I hope you all had a great weekend. I did. Saturday was soccer, and flag football. So 4 of my grandkids play sports, and I'm at every game that on the weekend. So I love it. I hope you all had a good weekend too. We're going to talk today about what do you do when your kids don't listen. Now, I don't know if any of you have that problem. Maybe your kids are perfect angels and listen to everything you ask them to do and give you no problems. I'd love to meet you if that's the case. Because that just does not happen in real life. And so we're going to talk about this because it's frustrating as a parent when you're trying to say something to your kids or you're asking them something and they're just totally tuning you out. And I remember saying this, and some of you may have said the same thing. I would say to my kids, am I talking to the wall here? Do you not hear me when I'm speaking to you? It's so frustrating. So we want to ease that frustration for you, and I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why kids don't listen, 3-step process of what you can do to fix that and change that. Okay, before we jump into that, I wanted to tell you I'm going to start the series on what would Pam do. So you can send me your questions, either direct message in Messenger, you can shoot them in the comment section here, you can email them to me. If you go to my website, there's a place where you can email me. And I need specifics though. How old is the child? Is it male or female? What's the situation? And what have you tried that's not working? And I'm going to choose questions randomly, and then I'm going to do reels about that, telling you what I would do. If this was me and my children, what would I do? You may agree with me, you may not. That's okay. I'm just going to share with you what I would do, okay? Second thing is, I'm now on TikTok. Yay! I was on, I was off, I was on, I was off, and now I'm on again because I've had a lot of followers say, hey, my grown children are not on Facebook, and I want them to see your reels so it can help them parent my grandchildren. And so I went on TikTok. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, obviously. So now I'm on TikTok, so you can share that with them and tell them they can catch the reels. I do the same reel across all the platforms, so it's not going to be anything different. It'll just be what I'm talking about on Facebook on TikTok. Although I don't do lives there. They're only on Facebook. Okay. The other thing is I've started a subscription program. You can check it out on my reel. You'll see a link to it. It's content that you're not going to find anywhere else. It's access to me that you're not going to get anywhere else. You can ask me questions and I'll answer them there for sure. Because I get asked a lot of questions from a lot of people. I can't possibly answer them all. But if you're a subscription member, I'll answer them for you. Okay? So you can check that out. All right, let's get into this. So your kids aren't listening. You're pulling your hair out. You don't understand why they're not listening to you. And you don't know what to do about it. Here we go. We're going to start with this. 5 reasons why. Number 1, they can't listen. It's a developmental limit. 2 to 6-year-olds have a very short attention span. It's like attention span of a gnat, like this. They have no attention span. And so they're focused. Say they're working on a project or playing with toys, and they're so engrossed, they're hyper-focused, they literally have tuned you out. It's not intentional. It's just behaviorally and developmentally how they're wired. So they're paying attention to what they're doing. So say your daughter's building Legos, and her head's down and she's working away and she's been doing it for like 15 minutes and she's all into it, and you're in the kitchen and she's at the dining room table and you're calling her name and she's not responding. And then you're going, what? So you call her name again and she doesn't respond. So then maybe you raise your voice a little bit. Nothing. And then you go in and go, why aren't you listening to me? So you either get agitated, you raise your voice, and then she's like startled and like, I don't know. Did you ever ask your child, why did you do that? And they'll look at you and go, I don't know. Sometimes they don't know. So in this case, they're just so hyper focused on what they're doing. They're not intentionally tuning you out, but developmentally, they're wired that way. And so you as a parent need to know that so then you know how to deal with that. Okay, that's one way. Okay, number two, it's a behavior choice. They are totally tuning you out on purpose because they don't want to hear what you have to say. They're pushing the boundaries. They don't want to do what they just heard you ask them to do, so they'll pretend they didn't hear you. And let me tell you, they can get really creative with their excuses of why they didn't hear you, right? But you know they heard you. They're pushing the boundaries. They're testing it to see what you're going to do about it. And they've learned, and a lot of times, that they don't have to respond to you because, you hear what I said, they've learned because you have taught them this. Yep. That until you repeat yourself 4 or 5 or 6 times, they don't have to pay attention because it's eventually you're going to come over to them because you're so daggone frustrated, and then you're going to say, did you not hear what I said? Or get up now and do what I said. Well, why should they do it the first 5 times? Pay attention to you? Yeah, they'll just wait. They don't mind. Okay? Number 3 is they don't know how to listen. Some kids, all kids are not born knowing how to listen. It's a skill, like all these other skills we teach our children, so that they become contributing, productive members of society, right? It's a skill you have to teach them. It's not something they automatically know. So we're going to talk about how you can do that. Many kids just don't know. Like listening means you look me in the eye, in a culture that's appropriate. You respond to me when I'm speaking to you. You nod your head. You acknowledge me in some way, right? You need to teach them those skills. Number 4 is you're a nagger. You are a nagger, and they do not want to hear it. They tune you out. So when you nag at your kids, and you know who you are, here's what they hear. Wah, 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 wah. You know that Charlie Brown, for those of you who are old enough to remember Charlie Brown, the teacher sequence, wah, wah, wah. That's what they're hearing. They are paying no attention to you because that is annoying to them. And it's like when you yell at your children, right? They go into this fight or flight. It's like they're not physically doing this, but it's what they're doing in their head. Because they're like, oh my God, you're screaming at them, you're towering over them, you're angry at them, and they have shut down. They're not hearing a thing you're saying. So the nagging, the yelling, same thing. Or you give them so many instructions that it overwhelms them. Okay, for example, young kids need simple, positive instructions, very specific and clear, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But sometimes saying to a child, go clean your room, they're like, holy cow, are you kidding me? There's clothes everywhere, there's toys everywhere, my bed's not made. Oh my gosh, it's so overwhelming. So they just shut down. They're like, I don't know what to do because it's too much. It's an overload for them. Okay, so let's figure out how we can address these. And hello to all of you hopping in there. Okay, easy fix, here we go. Step 1, you get their attention. Duh, this is common sense. But here's the deal. Often as parents, and I was guilty of this, all right? You're busy. You're doing 500 things at one time. I had 3 kids at that time. I'm running out cooking dinner, doing laundry, trying to get them done with their homework. You know, a lot of stuff going on, for an example. And say you're in the kitchen cooking dinner, your child's in the living room and you need them, usually just call their name, right? And then that's when they choose to ignore you because they figure like, oh, she's over there, I'm over here, I can ignore her for a while. This is where you have to stop what you're doing. This is where it takes some effort and some time to invest in this process so that you teach your kids how to respond differently, that when you speak, they need to listen. Okay, so this is going to take some of you, like maybe you're cooking dinner, now you got to turn the burner down or put it over on the stove somewhere, walk into where your child is. You need to get their attention, so that's where you tap them on the arm, on the shoulder, you get down on their eye level, and you call their name, and you say, hey, Sam, I need you to look at me, bud, right? They look at you. Now you've got their attention. That's the first step. Make sure you get their attention. Okay, because when they're tuned in, they're going to listen to you. Otherwise, they're tuning you out. You have to give clear, calm, direct, specified directions. Okay, so one instruction at a time. They do not need a dissertation. They do not need a paragraph. one at a time. Now, when they're older, yes, you can get a little more involved. But we're talking about younger children. One simple direction at a time, worded positively. For example, simple language, okay? You can say, it's time to put your toys in the bin. Please, always use manners. It's time to put your toys in the bin, please. Now, here's the deal. What I would do, I would get my kids' attention, get on their eye level, hey, tap them, call their name. Hey, listen, it's time for you to put your toys in the bin. Repeat back what I just said to you. And I have them repeat it back. You said put the toys in the bin. Great. Go for it. I wanted to make sure they heard me. Just because I'm talking doesn't mean they're hearing. Those are two different skills. So you have to make sure they understand you. So sometimes I would even just say, did you understand what I said? And they'd go, yes. And I'd say, tell me what I said. And then they'd tell me back that wasn't what I just said. So that's why it's good to say, repeat back what I just said to you. And then if there's not correct, correct it, right? If it's correct, say, great, go for it. Let's get it done. All right, so simple. So here's what happens sometimes. I'm going to read this one to you because I'll never remember all this. This is what some of you sound like and what I probably did sometimes too. How many times do I have to tell you to pick up your toys before bed? Because if you don't, I'm going to take them away and you're not going to get them back till tomorrow. And your kid is like, are you kidding me? What? I don't care. Take my toys. Because you're just overloading them and overwhelming them and telling them what they're doing wrong instead of going, you need to put your toys in the bin, please. Okay, and then this is so, so important, and I preach this all the time. You have to follow through every single time. Or you're going to get the KOD, kiss of death. Kiss of death, because they know they can get over on you, and boy, they're going, that's the saying, you take an inch, right, a mile, give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. That's what the KOD is. You have to follow through. This is where you have to stop what you're doing and follow through with this. So it's a short time frame. You do not repeat yourself. None of this over and over and over repeating yourself. For example, you say, we're leaving. In 2 minutes, you need to have your shoes on. Okay? Now, hopefully your child puts their shoes on. You say, great job. Thank you for listening and putting your shoes on. Praise them for what they did. Be clear about what it is that they did do. Okay? If they don't respond, enforce the consequence. So in this case, let me give you an example. If the toys are left out, I'm going to put them away till tomorrow. Boom. Okay. And some kids may go, great, you can pick them up all you want. I don't want to play with them anyway. So you have to know what your child's currency is, what's going to work for them. Now for me, if this is my child and I say you have to put your shoes on, we're leaving because we're in a hurry to go somewhere. So I'll give you two scenarios. One, we're in a hurry. We have to go. It's time to drop my older kids off at school, or I have to get to work or whatever. If they don't put their shoes on in the 2 minutes, I'm taking the child's shoes and the child and getting them in the car. Okay? Get where we need to be and go, you have 30 seconds to get those shoes on your feet. But they're also going to have a consequence for not putting the shoes on the first time I told them. And remember, consequences aren't punishment, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So enforce it with some kind of consequence. All right, now if they are at home, you can try, and you're not in a hurry, you can try something like, well, you know what? It's time to put your shoes on so we can go to the park. And the kid's like, I don't want to put my shoes on. Okay, then we'll stay home. And then it's their choice, right? Or you can say, I'm going to put this timer on, see if you can beat this timer. Sometimes that does it. A timer on your phone or a kitchen timer. Those kitchen timers are handy to have. So it's not always your phone, but it's the timer telling them what to do. Okay. So short, sweet, to the point, right? This is going to take some time for you because your children did not learn to not listen to you just because. It's been taught to them from the way you manage their behavior. And I'm not judging you here, and I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm saying now you know better, now try to do better. I mean, that's how I learned, right? I mean, I was not a perfect parent by any means. And I learned as I went, and that's why I can sit here and tell you what I know is effective, what works and what doesn't, because I've walked the walk and talked the talk. So, yeah. All right, so some ways you can teach your children to listen. You play like the freeze game. You play Simon Says. You play red light, green light. Those are games we used to play all the time in the neighborhood with all the kids. But that teaches your children to listen. So there's a fun way to do that. And then you can also say, when I call your name, you need to say, yes, Mom or Dad. And so that way you know they heard you at least calling their name. And then you can take it from there. Okay, so remember, this is a simple process. This is simple. This is easy. This is doable. It's get their attention, be clear and calm, follow through. Okay? Now let me jump on the consequence thing here. When I tell you that children should have consequences for their behavior if they're not listening, that's not punishment. Okay? Understand, punishment is inflicting harm or pain. Consequences and discipline is teaching and guiding. So all a consequence is a reaction to an action. You're driving down the road, you speed, you may get a ticket. That's a reaction. That's a consequence. You don't pay your light bill, it gets cut off. That's a consequence. It's not punishment. It's an action you took that resulted in this reaction. Okay? So when I say instill a consequence to your child, I'm not saying punish them. It's not to humiliate them or shame them or say, see, I told you if you didn't do it, this was going to happen. It's like, you know what? You were disrespectful to me, and we've already talked about this before. You've just lost 20 minutes of screen time. That's it. Calm. You just state the fact, the consequence, done. Now, hopefully, your children know in advance what consequences are going to be, so they know when you're disrespectful to me, you lose 20 minutes of screen time, or whatever your consequences are you decide on in your house. Okay? It really is this simple. It's not difficult. You are going to have to put some time into this. It might be a little inconvenient for a little bit, but in the long run, this is going to pay off because your children are going to learn, and you now know better skills how to manage behavior for your younger kids that just don't know how to listen or are so tuned into what they're doing that they're not paying attention, not intentionally trying to tune you out. Okay? I hope that makes sense. If it makes sense to you, put yes in the comments. And let me go over and look at these comments. Okay. Watching from Boston. Hey, Bridget. Let me hop up here. I want to make sure if you have any questions, I'm catching them here. We have Juanita from South Africa. Hello. Natasha, hello. Okay. I went too far. Okay. Here we go. I'm scrolling. Give me a second, guys. Technologically challenged here. Linda from New York. Candace from Alaska. Brianna, accurate. Yeah. You know what? So, I know that some of what I share seems annoying because it's like you have to put work into it, but that's what being a parent is, and it's not always easy. It's not always fun. Some days are not the rainbows, unicorns, sunshine, and lollipops. Some days you're ready to like pull your hair out. And let me just say this. If you have never had a day where you're like, what was I thinking having these kids? Or they're driving me crazy and I need to get away from them just for a little bit. If you've never had those days, you haven't really parented yet. So, because that's raw and that's real and that's honest. There are days when your kids are on your last nerve. You have one left and they're all dancing on it, right? That's being a parent. And it's time, it's effort, it's investment, it's work. That's what parenting is. It's also joyful and a blessing and the happiest thing I've ever done in my life and the best thing I've ever done in my life. But I never said it was easy. Okay? Keep that in mind. And it's okay if you screw up. Like sometimes you screw up and you yell at your kids or you get frustrated with them. Well, guess what? You're human. You're allowed. Give yourself grace and move on. Okay. Let me see if there's any questions. Let me scroll quickly. What ages are you speaking about currently, Brianna? I'm speaking to like 2 to 12. Now, this can also work for your teenagers. See, teenagers are a different breed. Okay. Toddlers, they don't listen. They're not wired to listen to you. They're paying no attention to you. That's where you have to like go physically move them. You have to use redirection, distraction. You have to have lots and lots and lots of patience because they just don't. They can't reason. They're not understanding half the stuff you're saying to them. And then you get frustrated, but that's just how they're wired. Teenagers are a whole different breed as well. There's like toddler teenagers, and then there's all this in between. They're different species, teenagers. And so a lot of what I'm teaching you can work with the teenagers, but sometimes you have to tweak it for their age level. Because obviously you can give them more complex instructions. Obviously you can say, the first time I speak, you need to be listening to me. You know, unless they're so focused or, you know, they're just engrossed in what they're doing and you're not aware of that and you assume they're ignoring you. So there's things you can tweak there with these kids. Okay, I use the timer, Tama, very good. Timers are wonderful because let me tell you, like I said, it's the timer telling them they have to get it done, not you. And I know that sounds strange, but let me tell you, that is very effective. Is this going to be available available to watch later. Yes, Sonia, it is. All of my Facebook Lives automatically go up onto my page as soon as we're done. And then they also go in the afternoon. I'll put them on my website, PamelaPalanza.com, and they'll also go on my YouTube channel under Facebook Lives. So there's 3 different places you can find them because I like to keep those up for people to refer back to. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. A mama to 6 with ages ranging 5 to 23. Bless you, bless you, bless you, Brianna. You agree with everything I'm saying. Thank you. Here's the thing here, and I'm glad you said that. You don't have to agree with me. So I think I want people to understand that. I have a certain approach to parenting. Doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody agrees with it, and that's perfectly okay. I invite you to stick around and learn what I'm teaching you. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, find what does, because every family is different. Every child is different, and even multiple children in the same family are different. So you have to learn different parenting techniques and styles that are going to work best for your family and your children. So I don't sit here and claim I'm an expert. That's why I say I'm a mentor, because I don't have the answer for everything. I have an answer for a lot of things because I've been there, done that, but not for everything. Okay, how do I deal with this 6-year-old who talks literally nonstop? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm laughing here, and we're going over a little bit. So for those of you that have to hop off, have a good afternoon. For those of you that can stick around, stick around. Okay, that's annoying. I was one of those children. I talked a lot. In kindergarten, I had to stay in the corner with my nose in the corner because I talked a lot. Now, as an adult, I get paid to talk. So that paid off for me. My father would say to me, children are to be seen and not heard. I just heard a ding. I don't know what that was. Okay. My father would say, children are to be seen and not heard. Or he would say things like, give someone else a chance to talk. What I suggest to you is that maybe if you have a child, if this is your child or your grandchild, that you give them a tape recorder they can talk into. You have them write things down. You have them draw. So take that energy of how, all that is them wanting to express themselves. For me, I think a lot of it was, I was a middle child. I had 2 older brothers and then me and a younger sister, and I was the middle child. And I think for me, that was a way to get attention. And I also was expressing myself that way. So try to channel the energy instead of pushing that down or criticizing the child for it. Say, oh my gosh, you have so much to say. That's wonderful. Could you draw me a picture of that? Could you want to write it? Get them a journal. I mean, they're 6. They can write some words maybe. Here, talking to the tape recorder. Tell the tape recorder. And just kind of direct that energy another way that's a positive way, because you don't want to stifle their creativity and that energy, but you do want to channel it because it really is annoying. I mean, it is. I know I annoy people. Even to this day, I talk a lot. That's just who I am. So, and like I said, now I get paid for it. Okay. I spent 10 years traveling the United States as a public speaker at early childhood conferences. And I used to get paid a lot of money for doing that. It paid off. You're talking so much. Okay. Okay. How to make a strong-willed 2-year-old girl start listening. They're not going to. You can't make them listen at 2. If you can figure that out, let me know. They don't. You have to learn how to manage their behavior. That's on you, not them, as the parent. Okay? So that's where I said you have to redirect them. You have to keep them engaged. 2-year-olds' attention span, again, is like a gnat. So they're ding, 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 ding all over the place. They're not hearing you. They can't reason. That's why I say when kids are having a tantrum, and like a 2-year-old, they're having a tantrum, and you're like trying to talk to them on the floor, save your breath. They're hearing nothing you're saying, and you are wasting your breath, and you're just agitating them further, and then they start screaming louder. Save your breath. You need to learn how to manage a 2-year-old's behavior, not get the child to learn how to listen to you. Okay. I'm sorry if that doesn't answer your question the way you wanted, but that's the truth. How do you deal with a defiant 11-year-old? I need to have a whole lot more information on that one before I can answer that. Okay. Okay. Hello. Yeah. Karen, you're right. Teenagers are choosing not to listen. That is the truth. Yeah. Anyway, all right. I'm going to hop off here. I'll read through these comments. I'll respond to them this afternoon. I have to run into a meeting after this, but this will all go back up on my PamelaPalanza.com page. Just look at the homepage, look under look under watch, and you'll see Facebook Lives. So you can watch it there. And you also find my YouTube channel there. So either place, you can watch this. But give me till this afternoon to get this up. And I will go back through and answer your questions on these. I just have to dash out for a meeting right now. Anyway, all right, y'all. Until next week, stay safe. And remember, hug and love your babies. Bye.